the Church of Scientology is so afraid of.
This is SPTV.
Hey, it's us. It's me and Serge. Hi, everybody.
Hello, hello, hello.
Look at me being a fancy controller in the background here, throwing up videos. I feel so fancy today. Oh, my goodness. Hi, Serge. How are you, gorgeous?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I am so good. It is raining here, as somebody's already pointed out in the chat. Yes, it is finally raining here in Oregon. We haven't had like any. So we are very excited. People have forgotten what that looks like here. So they're a little whacked out, but it is lovely. How's the weather down there? Hot? What's going on?
Little hot, but I still can't complain. Honestly, California is, a really wonderful weather, to be honest.
That's good. Well, you guys just got like drenched. So
A
you guys
little
went
bit,
through
but I
that whole.
mean, it's always like how
I
the news
mean,
is, like they always end up showing you these images that
Chavez
you're like,
Ravine
oh my
was like
God,
flooded.
everyone's drowning, but we missed it. So
Rodeo Drive was like underwater or something. People were
exactly.
floating away in their Lamborghinis. Watch out.
Exactly.
I mean, I've always said that the only time anyone in America is really going to care about a hurricane is when it hits Malibu directly, right? Like when it wipes out Malibu, then people are like, hurricanes have to be annihilated. Like that's it. We got to take on these hurricanes. They are the worst. That's when we're
really,
going to get serious.
the culture disparity in LA, you guys, could not be any more real, and it couldn't be more, problematic because, from the homelessness to the child trafficking at L1 Hubbard Way, literally, then you could be at Rodeo Drive buying Gucci, but it's all just a few miles away from each other. Go visit the homeless in downtown, go get child trafficked at L1 Hubbard Way, and then go to Rodeo Drive and grab some Gucci.
Yeah. No,
LA
absolutely.
is wonderful.
It's crazy. I just want to let everybody know we are doing an Ask Me Anything. Okay, guys. So some important ground rules here. I have a hard stop here at 4 p.m. because I have to take my kids somewhere because I'm a busy mom. But so what I want you guys to do is please hit us with those burning questions for about the first like 30 or so minutes. I'm going to star as many as I can. Please put a question in the chat. You can super chat us if you want. That would be awesome sauce. Either here on my channel, of course, Oh No Nora, at Oh No Nora, or at Serge Del Mar. Please be on both channels. And if you have not liked or subscribed to either channel, please go and do that because we have to say that at the beginning and throughout the show to get you to do that. No Barbie questions. Excuse me, Liz. All the Barbie questions. No, I'm just kidding. Today we're talking about Scientology and celebrities. But you can ask us anything. Let us know.
Barbie was a really big part of my childhood. So and it has to do with Scientology. So there's Barbie questions. And literally Marty Rathbun is involved in the Barbie questions too. So,
right? That's
ask
a separate
us anything, you guys. I mean, this is what we're doing here, showing up and saying, ask us anything. We would love for the Scientologists to hold their own, ask me anything so they can speak for themselves and start making themselves clear. Because so far we got a bunch of receipts that make not a shred of sense. So we would love to start reconciling receipts and figuring out how in the hell any of this is okay.
Absolutely. I mean, how much would it be amazing? Like if we could get, our old like COs on an Ask Me Anything to just talk to them, Serge. Like that would just be like if I just had Dave Pettit here, just be like, okay, sir, let's unpack a few things.
Let's start by not calling him sir, Nora, because I mean, again, going back to how we were
he's a
child
man.
slaves, you guys,
I'm addressing him
no
as
child should be calling any grown man or woman sir. So let's make sure that that's very clear because the language has a lot to do with the slavery. And as much as that gets trivialized by everybody, we were forced to call adult grown men and women by sir. That's odd. That's weird. That's disgusting. What kind of degenerates go around telling kids to call them sir, unless they're
We were also forced to call
cosplaying in
children
military
sir.
uniforms and role playing that they're commanding officers of whatever in the hell they say they are. But no more
But don't
calling
forget, we were
anyone
also forced
sir.
to call other children sir, too. Like that's a whole other thing. Like the kids in the Commodore Messenger org who would come in who were just 16 years old. That's the other reverse psychology of it too. You have, young children who are then put in these higher organizations who then come down to these lower organizations with a complete like Napoleon complex, right? That they are in this superior rank to everyone and that they get to march around, commanding things and it's insane.
Well, and from
Um,
personal
and
experience, Nora, when
you
I
know,
was at Flag, literally
mhm,
being that child that was supposed to be called sir, since I did run
right.
those grooming salons, literally every roll call, where's Martha Ramirez? Here, sir.
Hmm.
And if they didn't call us sir, we would send them to
Right.
ethics, you guys. It's like, why are you disrespecting me? Who do you think you are? Why are you
Right.
not getting your manners in? You should be calling me sir. You should be
Right.
addressing me like that. If you don't address me like that, you're going to go be sent to ethics. And all of that, embedded artificial cosplaying narcissism that makes not a shred of sense in this year 2023. When we were kids, it made a lot of sense. When we were
Hmm.
kids, we bought the pitch. When we were kids,
Right.
they told us wear this military uniform, guys, and we were like, oh, okay, well, we cannot be being defrauded or scammed because Tom Cruise is
Hmm.
around, and all manner of celebrities are visiting us, so it couldn't be that this is all just a disgusting piece of shit fraud at
Hmm.
all.
Laura, I just want to address your comment here 1 second. Now, there's a difference between your kids growing up with decent manners and if they're in a situation where, like, let's say they're, out and about and they're in a grocery store and they're approaching like a store clerk who's an adult and they say, "Excuse me, sir, do you know where like the chips are?" Right? And they're approaching like the adult, clerk that works there and they say that. That's an appropriate use of that, or they say, "Ma'am, can you help me find the tuna fish?" Right? That's an appropriate use of sir or ma'am. What Serge and I are talking about is an infatuation with L. Ron Hubbard and his fake space navy, who he dressed in stolen valor uniforms, which came from actual naval surplus stores. By the way, these were actual Navy uniforms that he dressed us in. Okay, and his infatuation with Navy ranks, which he gave us. Okay. Thank you. And making us call each other sir, no matter if you're a man or a woman, um, on purpose to uh, suppress gender, to suppress all kinds of stuff, and make us feel a superiority over the rest of humanity,
To support their slave
and
culture.
separate
It's to
us.
support their
And
slave culture.
yeah,
The slaves were supposed to call their masters sir. It was a term of
correct.
respect. Like we were inferior. We were
Mhm,
nobodies. We were do what we tell you to do. Yes, sir. If you didn't answer like that. So going
mhm.
back to your point, Nora, of this commenter, yes, out of respect, you can call a person that you're in the store that you don't know their name. Excuse me, sir, can I ask you how much this is? But we were told over here, being locked up with our passports locked up by these people. They petted David, Debbie Cook, all these captains and commanders
Right.
wearing those uniforms that Nora just told us where they come from. So
Right.
that's what we're calling out, that pathetic type of cosplaying done by these child traffickers who really did take it upon themselves to take themselves very seriously, you guys. None of this was wishy-washy. None of this was ha ha ha, just no. It was like
Well, we
you
didn't take it as a joke. This was serious business to us. I mean, we, took all of this very serious. I mean, I never took it as a joke. I was in high school, like I went to a regular high school. I graduated from Santa Rosa High School in Northern California in 1994. And much to the chagrin of my friends, we were all talking late in our senior year of high school, like, where are you going to college? What are you going to do? And I had decided at that point, late into my senior year, to join the Sea Org on the ship. And my friends were like, "What? You're going to a cruise ship?" And I was like, "No, no, 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 no. It's not a cruise ship. This is the Free Ones, and we are saving all of mankind and this sector of the universe." And I gave them the Sea Org pitch, and they were like, "Okay, that's interesting." Like, they were like, "Well, why don't you just join the actual Navy if you're so into it?" And I was like, "Well, that's okay, but like I can't save all of mankind in the US Navy. Like, this is bigger than that, guys." Like, they just weren't understanding that like my purpose was to save all of mankind. Like, truth be told, I probably would have
But that was
excelled
just
in the
a
Navy
total
because
BS
I
false
wanted to
pitch
help
because
people,
we weren't saving anybody. We were literally
No, we saved
abusing people
nobody.
all day long, every single day. You guys, they put
Yeah.
us to do unthinkable role play scenarios. Even with what Nora was doing, you guys. Nora was my student. Nora was my student at Flag when she was literally just recruited to be at CC. Like the first evolution of whatever the hell, of sending minors all across state lines, because why not? I mean, you were under 21 even back then, right, Nora?
Yeah, I was 19 then.
So, then she ended up there in Florida doing these courses where she was told that she had the power to force someone to sit down in a chair and literally clear all their confusions with Nora's power that she would wield over them. Don't get up at the chair. Don't go here. Don't go there. You want to go to the bathroom? You have to ask me. Like, there's like full control of somebody in a very disgusting, artificial, not helpful for anyone way, you guys. I mean, going back to the consent of being involved in something, and it's like these people, just because they entered the hotel, everybody's pretending that they have consent to do everything. And in fact, they are, because they won't get inside the hotel unless they sign that they do consent to everything blindly and against their best interest. That's the contract that gets presented to every single person that goes inside that hotel. It's like, do you want to renounce your rights? Do you want to be here and we tell you everything? Do you want to have not a shred of privacy anymore? And do you want to have all the data that we're going to data mine out of you to be used against you? Okay, just sign here really quick. Just sign, because this is going to be extremely binding. As soon as you do this, you guys, Constitution of the United States goes like this much. Constitution.
Well, the sad news now is, Serge, is that they used to make us feel like that with the billion-year contract. But now the new contract, as you know, actually says that they are waiving their constitutional rights. Like, that's how far they've gone because of people like me and you and Laura DiCrescenzo, who had their case, and everybody else. They have now reworded their contract where they're still having them sign the ridiculous billion-year contract as a symbol, as they've always claimed that it's a symbol. But now they're having them sign a contract which they're still claiming is legal, which I don't think is legal. But anyway, I'm not a legal expert. I'm just going to,
But here,
in case anybody
very
wants to
simple,
come at
Nora.
me,
Just here's
I don't have a
point.
law degree.
Yeah, but here's the point. Okay.
But they're signing something that says they are waiving their constitutional rights, which of course you cannot do.
You can be made to sign a contract that goes against your best interest. Go ask any lawyer anywhere in the United States if there's contracts out there that are done against people's best interest. That happens all the time. If you're 21 and over, that's very enforceable.
Right.
Ask all manner of partners out there that have signed sham contracts where their best interests weren't really taken into account, but they did sign and they were of the age. And they did get involved with whatever in the hell they got involved in. That's why we have legal people that are supposed to inspect the contracts or whatever. But going back to the point here, it's like, if you as an adult 21 and over want to sign that contract for yourself, there's nothing we can do to stop that from happening. And we couldn't even give any shred of an F Literally, I'm not into telling 21 and overs what to do with their lives. They want to go get drunk at a club one night. They want to they want to go drive their car drunk. Okay. I mean, that's their choice, right? Like they're making a choice. We're not going to hear and police everyone that's 21 and up. But, Nora and I come from the point that we were made to sign contracts. And just exactly what Nora's saying, all these minors are being told today in this year 2023 what we have a gazillion things that have come on the public record since Nora and I were locked up there as kids. Back in the early 90s, maybe nobody knew what we were doing because we were clandestine AF, you guys. The fact that no one has put a shred of ice that isn't qualified to go into Debbie Cook's hotel, isn't qualified to go into Dave Pettit's hotel. Trust me, if they don't trust you that you're going to keep your mouth shut, you are not getting in. This is a highly vetted process. Like you qualify, you don't. You do, you don't. So it's full-blown legal malpractice what's being done. But you know what? All manner of people get made to sign sham contracts. And you know what? If we go on a crusade of saving every last adult from signing a bad contract for themselves, we'd be having to front all their legal fees ad nauseum for the rest of our lives. When you're an adult, you make choices. When you're an adult, you sign sham contracts, and that's on you. When you're a child, 14 years old, you don't. And if your parents sign for you because they say, oh, yeah, this is so great, and they're the benefactors of dumping you at a hotel so that they don't have to pay a shred of money for you ever again, explain that to me, CC Sandra Gill, CC Pedro Gill, CC all Scientology parents. My parents were not the only ones that thought this was a great idea, you guys. So yes, I'm literally calling my parents out, but how many other parents were there that were also like my parents, keeping up with the Joneses, because that's what they're all about in there. Oh, they did it. Well, we should do it too. We're all into it, right? Oh, you have this now because you did donate your kid to this thing. And isn't your kid so amazing? You know what? Spare us the accolades. They meant something when we were children, naive and gullible AF. Today, I don't give a shred of an F about your BS accolades about how amazing I was at 12 doing courses that L. Ron Hubbard was teaching so that I could go interrogate adults that like to be interrogated like kids that look like me, because that's what needs to make sense today.
Yeah, and I wanted to put this up, Paula. It absolutely still is happening. There are many Facebook, and specifically Scientologists hang out on Facebook a lot. If you go on Facebook and look for them, they don't privatize their accounts because they want people to know how great Scientology is. So they're always promoting it. They're always promoting when their kids are upstat and they're joining staff, they're joining Sea Org, they're doing all these things, they're doing courses. They have their kids starting courses, starting auditing, joining staff still today as young as 14 or 15. Okay. My ex-husband, who I had 2 kids with, joined the Sea Org at 12. Okay. At 12 years old. He got married for the first time. I was not his first wife. I was his third wife. Okay. He got married for the first time at 14. They love when children get married. Do you know why they love when children get married? Because it prevents all of this out 2D nonsense, right? Because then if kids start, doing what teenagers do, which is like, hey, I'm excited. I've got hormones. Let me see what everything feels like when I touch something. Like I have 3 teens right now. They're very excited about everything. But when they do what normal teenagers do, okay, it's messy and they want to send them away. Well, we can't kick all the teens out. So when we get teens married, it does away with that problem. But second major thing, and the real reason why they want teenagers to get married, is it does away with schooling. Because once a teenager is married, it cuts off the parents completely because they are emancipated minors. And so the parents have no legal rights to the child anymore, period, forever. Second thing is they no longer have to go to school anymore because they are now legally an adult because they are married. So it's a great legal loophole for the church to get all of these minors emancipated from their parents, no more parental control, and no more schooling. They don't ever have to send them to school or get them a GED or anything else. They can just work, 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 and they don't have to do anything else legally for that child ever again or acknowledge that they are, in fact, a child. Okay. So, and it doesn't just go for regular kids. Celebrity kids have joined this year. Tom Cruise's son famously joined staff for a hot minute, Connor, but in fact, celebrities, because this is the Celebrity AMA, their money, their promotion of this cult is what keeps it going. Most famously, like I just saw, I went to Panda Express and the guy next to me in line had a "You're Killing Me" Smalls shirt on. And I wanted to approach him. I didn't have time because I was leaving as he was coming in. But, Patrick Renna is like trying to make a resurgence in the world with, I don't know if he's getting money directly from these shirt sales. He probably is somewhere. But, that line is pretty famous. And that's like his most famous movie, right? And he's making this resurgence on TikTok with his little tiki-talkies. However, he's also one of the largest recruiters of celebrities in the Los Angeles area because he started the Los Feliz mission with a couple other second gens. And he hangs out at all the places with all the parties like, "Oh, you're killing me, Smalls, pew, pew, pew," and like takes pictures with people. And that gets people to come to his little Los Feliz mission and does the little basic things with people and then pumps them over to the Celebrity Center and makes money on every single person that he sends up the line to Celebrity Center for their big boy services. And he's just pimping people up the line with his FSM commissions,
Well,
right?
and here's the
So
point, right, Nora?
you know,
It
it's
boils
never
down
ending
to
cycle.
this. Everything is
Yep.
premeditated AF. What Nora just told us about, like all these research that these people at these hotels have done to be like, oh, well, if we marry them, then we don't have to do this. Well, if we send them to Vegas instead of, all the LA people were being sent across state lines to Vegas
Yep.
that were minors, you guys.
That's trafficking.
Because again, it's like the child brides is a problem that Scientology is full of. I mean, I was literally just, covering Elizabeth Moss in the rampant, ridiculous hypocrisy of that woman and the rest of her team. And, ran into Laura DeCrescenzo, who got her first abortion, you guys, at 17. So Laura DeCrescenzo really knew that she wanted to get married as a minor, right? And she really knew that everything that she had been put through was totally okay, seeing that she did get recruited across state lines from Albuquerque to California to go be worked to death at 12 years old. And all she got was a measly civil trial. I mean, imagine that, you guys. Like, this girl at 12 years old gets pregnant, gets forced to abort, literally gets put in the RPF, in the hole, where Nora and I would know exactly what in the hell she's talking about, the type of disgusting abuse that happens in those holes that Dave Pettit used to supervise, that David Cook used to supervise in Florida, in Los Angeles, in
I was
Springs.
on the RPF with Laura.
You were on the, so, she only got that, civil lawsuit and whatever. And, she only went into the record and put all that record, all those receipts there. But has there been any criminal investigation started? No. Apparently every girl that is being forced to abort, who gives a shred of an F about that? And we have receipts that there's current practice of that going since recently. We found out that they were doing this to another couple, because they do get very desperate, you guys. Like, these people are desperate. They're going to lose one person that does this one job that no one else is going to be able to do, because they couldn't be more desperate, because nobody wants to do the horrific jobs that they have. And the people that do get to do them, they're doing them because they don't have a choice anymore. We knew, I mean, Nora, I didn't want to be a supervisor. I didn't want to do anything of the things that I was doing, but I was stuck with a freeloader debt of hundreds of invoices that I had signed for thousands of dollars. So debt bondage.
The freeloader debt. Oh my, how many videos can we do about that?
Debt bondage, our passports locked up, utterly defrauded, utterly coerced to be in those disgusting hotels where, yeah, you know, it was nice that John Travolta was showing up. Hi, John Travolta, let me be your slave. I was tapped to be one of his slaves, John Travolta's slave. I wasn't servicing John personally, but, you know, he did take it upon himself to bring, you know, it was a fitness instructor, you guys, that he was bringing with him because he really wanted to get in shape. That's when he was really, really fat. And then, you know, he needed to get in shape for a movie. So this man he brought, that was a baseball guy that had a horrible, like, chewing tobacco addiction. And I, as a minor, was tapped to fix this man's chewing tobacco addiction. Okay. So we were enslaved to be slaves of celebrities. And aren't we so lucky, Nora? Aren't we so lucky to get a chance?
Hashtag blessed.
Hashtag blessed AF.
I mean, it's just, yeah. I mean, that's how we were expected to act. That we were just, you know, supposed to be grateful, and we were supposed to be just so happy. And let's be honest. I mean, you know, in Scientology, we were supposed to be just tone 40, and we were just supposed to be, you know, this big being, and we were supposed to be cause, and we were supposed to be all these things. But we, most of all, we were supposed to be like shining examples of perfection, all the time. You know, especially you and I. I mean, you were at Flag, and I was a product of Flag.
Guys. We were just drones. We were just drone robots.
Drones. We were supposed to be robots.
That we were being controlled through this bullshit rhetoric of euphemisms, made up words that made no sense at all. But you know what? Again, how do pimps control whores? Please do your research. GTS that really quick. How do pimps literally groom whores so that they can have them under their thumb like this, and they can just say out ethics and okay. Lower condition indictments, they can just roll like that. It's like, now you're not Kamev, you know, like you cannot have an emotion. Like Nora said, you have to be a perfect robot. You can't backflash. You can't talk back. You can't say no. You can't say stop. You can't say, I want to get out of here. You can't say, where's my passport? Literally, you can't say shit. So
no, I'm sorry. I'm laughing at this comment while you're saying that.
Make it go right. That is the way. Make it go right and save the day. Exactly. Save the day. You know?
Right. And that's it's like the whole code of the Sea Org member, all these things that we were made to hypnotize ourselves with, right? With the Chinese schools and the, you know, repeating these things over and over and over to the wall, to each other. You're self-hypnotizing all the time to tell yourself these things, right? And then you're, you know, at some point you're just doing it to yourself. You know,
Nora, what's the definition of a team?
Don't do that,
a
sir.
Team has a tendency to know what each other is doing and thinking,
members
and
are doing and
thereby and therewith.
Right.
That is the definition of a
team.
It is people who cooperate one with another to push forward a common purpose. And they normally get along great. Well, we were getting along just amazing, guys, right? Like we were getting along so great that our passports were locked under key in case we made our change of mind. Oops, never mind. I want to leave the hotel. No, billion-year contract. Didn't you know that was very binding? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's yeah. No, there's certain things that just stay in the brain pan. I mean, it's like it's funny to me where I'd like thrown a lot of stuff away, but sometimes when I see, you know, like I'll come across other cults, and I'm just like, sometimes I'm like, oh, that's so Scientology. Like you can just tell that the new, like a new cult will pop up. I'm like, oh, that guy stole that from Dianetics. Like that's 100% Dianetics, or like whatever. Like they're not even that original. It makes me sad, but it's also like all cults, honestly, are the
based
same.
on narcissism.
It's all the same.
All marketed narcissism, you guys. Like all of this BS cults are all marketed narcissism. They all use each other's techniques. It's always the same BS pyramid scheme where, yeah, somebody up here has a lot of status and they must be so important and so great and so whatever. And all these people must be so pathetic, stupid, and couldn't need the guidance and approval of this idiot here at the top. All cults work the same. They're all pathetic. They're all useless. They're all a scourge on society. But yeah, in 2023, we're still being very respectful in America, you know, because yeah, anyone can do whatever in the hell they feel like doing, because, you know, it's going to be so hard to prosecute everything that, you know, why do we even have the laws? I mean, might as well not even have them, right? Like, no one is around to enforce a shred of law. All this like platitudes about, oh, the law is so important, you guys. Yeah, in America, we really care. They only care, you guys, if it's like documents taken from the White House. Then they will really care. Then, oh my God, they're going to move mountains because somebody grabbed a document. I mean, ask L. Ron Hubbard and Mary Sue Hubbard how they actually finally got in trouble because they did fuck with documents. So yeah, if you touch a government document, God forbid. But if you screw a bunch of kids, keep going. And if you invite celebrities to it, keep it open and call it whatever the hell you want. So when someone can make that sense, it would be great to get really informed. We really need to know.
And they're still doing it now. I mean, they've always had a celebrity contingent from the beginning. And the longest standing celeb, as you and I both know, you mentioned him earlier, is John Travolta. And then along came Tom Cruise. He was brought in by his first wife, Mimi Rogers, who herself was a second gen. And then she was given the boot and kicked out of Scientology, right? And what's interesting is, and I'll have to tell you, I was sending myself a bunch of links about like Tom Cruise initially because I wanted to do like a deep dive on Tom, just because like I wanted to see his journey from the very beginning to now, the difference from like where he started to where he, to the couch jumping and where he's at now. Because it's interesting. I watched the one interview right after he broke up with Mimi, and then the interview right after he broke up with Nicole, right? And it's so telling, his training and everything difference, because right after he broke up with Mimi, he was so mean and cruel. He was like, the interview asked him specifically, well, didn't Mimi get you into Scientology? And he was like, mm-hmm. And then they're like, well, do you talk to her still? And he's like, no, I have no reason to speak to her. And same question was asked about Nicole. Similar question was like, well, are you and Nicole on good terms, or like, what's the deal? And he's like, I have great respect for Nicole. I have great love for her, and we will continue to have a great relationship. And we talk daily, and we're still parenting together. And it was like this whole like black and white version of Tom, where he was like, I don't have any reason to talk to Mimi. Yet I know at the time where Tom and Nicole were breaking up, there was a huge thing in the church where it was like, don't even say Nicole's name. She doesn't exist. So it's like very telling to me to see his like, where he couldn't
what's very telling
hide
to
it
me is
early
that Tom
on.
Cruise is a total deadbeat husband from hell.
Oh,
What's very telling to me is that Tom Cruise took it upon himself to tap Marty Rathbun and David Miscavige to go spy on Nicole. So with the same mouth that Tom Cruise sits there purporting that he has so much respect for his wife, he also tapped two of his besties, the two degenerates, drop-offs from high school, David and Marty, that didn't even finish high school, you guys. The only claim to fame for Marty Rathbun being the DIG ethics is because he did courses at a hotel. So again, why somebody like Tom Cruise, with all the money in the world, with all the resources in the world, would top two men who were literal dropout high school people that just grabbed a book from L. Ron Hubbard and says, yeah, let's do exactly what it says here to do without a shred of critical thinking. Because, Ron Miscavige did tell me that L. Ron Hubbard was a genius, and Ron Miscavige did traffic me across state lines, from New Jersey all the way to California to be fed to L. Ron Hubbard, as all these parents gave their kids to these executives, either to L. Ron Hubbard or to any one last of his proteges, you guys. Because I was trafficked to Debbie Cook, Nora was trafficked to Dave Pettit, this other one was trafficked to whoever in the hell was running the evolution, and these people were full-blown child traffickers that make Jelaine and Jeffrey look like they didn't know what in the hell they were doing. Trust me, the people that trafficked us knew what in the hell they were doing. Jeffrey and Ghislaine have no idea. They're a bunch of pathetic imbeciles, but these ones weren't. These ones knew, these ones checked, these ones figured out how to pitch it like this and pitch it like that, so it can look like this and it cannot look like that, and made a mockery of the legal system that we have, which we might as well just use to wipe your you-know-what exactly with, because that's the amount of power that the laws in the United States hold. Nothing. They couldn't be more
nobody cares.
manipulatable.
Like you said, nobody cares about kids when they can't see them, because like you've mentioned before, and I've said this before too, like when people come into Scientology from other countries, okay, like you did, all right, a lot of people don't understand this. When people are brought here and they are trafficked here from other countries with promises of like grandeur, in your case you actually did become an auditor and a supervisor. Now other people are promised this, and like there was a Russian couple who came here from
No, but no, I
Moscow.
became an auditor because my parents paid for it. Like
Okay,
that wasn't even given to me in the Sea Org.
That
My
wasn't even given
parents
to you.
made me become that. Like literally at
That's
12.
different.
At 12.
Right. But we had a Russian couple come to Celebrity Center that they brought, because there was supposed to be like a Celebrity Center Russia at some point. It was a whole thing. When I first got recruited, they were like, yeah, we're going to teach you Russian, and then you're going to help open the Russian Celebrity Center. I was like, that sounds cool. I'll learn Russian. Great. So they brought this couple here and they trafficked them in under the guise of training them as ministers. Okay. So they got them what's called a 501, not the 501c3. It's I'm trying to think of the visa. It's the
R1 visa.
Thank you, the R1 visa. Okay. So it's an R1 visa so they can work in this country under the, religious purposes. Okay. And they filled out all the paperwork saying they were going to be ministers. So they come in and they're thinking they're going to go on the technical training corps full time to become auditors and then go back and open up CC Russia. Hot dog, that's not what happened. They both went to work in the Manor, his wife as a maid and him in the facilities department, like fucking fixing the plumbing. They were so pissed. But as you know, what happens first? Your passport and your visa are taken from you and put into security for safekeeping so you don't lose it, because we don't want anything to happen to those important papers. And then how are you supposed to get out? How are you supposed to leave? You don't have any papers. You can't leave the country. And so they were just trapped at that hotel, which is an actual hotel also, the Manor Hotel, for years, not able to leave the country under the guise of, so sorry, we have to man up the Manor. And they were traded for other people who then actually became auditors, not for CC Russia, which was never a real place. And that's how the human trafficking gamut goes, whether it's adults or children. It's obviously worse when it's children, but there are thousands of men, women, and children in this country, in Australia, in other countries who have been trafficked across country lines internationally, who all have their passports being held from them and their international paperwork under this R1 visa BS, especially in this country, that those visas have long since expired.
Well,
and then when they expire, they first try to marry them off to an American. That's the first solution. They don't ever file extension paperwork for anyone legally. That would be a nightmare. But didn't at one point, did they try to marry you off to an American or something like that?
My mom was American citizen, so they were using my mother, who was not in the Sea Org, to get my papers fixed up. I mean, you guys, literally, they have a person whose job in there is just to figure out how to manipulate visas. And they get very, very good at it, because they find out where should they send the person, who approves them easy, what type of border can they come through in. I mean, when we say we have pathetic immigration laws in this country, we couldn't be more serious, because for these people, trust me, they will make it go right all the way, and they will get the person in there as long as they know that the person qualifies. And remember, to qualify, no one on the outside world is going to miss you. No one on the outside world is going to give a shred of an F that you're stuck in there. So remember that that's the qualification they need. If those Russian people that you just brought up, Nora, if they would have said, "Oh yeah, my uncle is, related to Putin and we're part of the KGB." Oh, you don't qualify. Next
Oh,
lifetime.
peace
Next
out.
lifetime you might, but we wouldn't want to have the KGB looking into us because, we wouldn't also be a state sanctioned operation in America operating this illegal activity because America has no idea, you guys. They're so busy running the country. They're so busy doing the real heavy lifting that this government does to literally allow someone such as myself at 14. That's when I went to Juarez, El Paso border, you guys. That's where my mother trafficked me. Okay, so an OSA operative spent hours with me telling me what to say, how to talk about the minister and this and that and da 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 da. And I mean, Nora, like you just brought up, like that these Russians didn't end up being an auditor. And, thank God for them. Thank God for them, you guys, because as much as everybody thinks that being an auditor was great, you know what? It wasn't. If you want to be a disgusting, deranged dominatrix that doesn't listen to a shred of literally common sense, if that's what you want, then yes, go sign up for that and go train yourself. If you're not going to listen to any boundaries, if that's really what you're in all about, if you really want to have that type of an experience in a hotel room, in those hotels, you will find the perfect environment for you to breed your narcissism unchecked. And they will cover for you any angle that you do it. Just go ask Danny Masterson how much he was covered up for. Never mind that he was a child. Never mind that he was brought up with all this nonsense. Never mind that this was all normalized for him. Never mind that his mom knew everything about every last felony Danny was committing literally as an underage. As soon as he did it, you guys, our parents knew, our parents were informed, our parents found out. So the celebrity kids and all of this, except that, going back to this AMA, right? Celebrity, like, well, Danny was cradled and canoodled and treated with gloves. So, because, he really was doing a lot for the world by, getting tapped by Hollywood to be in one of their series. You couldn't be more great in Scientology than doing that. That's the ultimate influence. So all of this dysfunction is literally, endorsed by parents that are very much about literally sacrificing their kids for their own expense, literally.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I want to get to some of these questions here real quick so we don't ignore them. Just this is a comment more than a question from Kay's in the house. I saw that happen. 15-year-olds getting married. Yes, this is how they did that.
Well, and imagine, guys, that, sometimes the 15-year-old was the American and they had a 28-year-old that was, from Italy. So, don't you guys want to and then it was encouraged in a very disgusting way. As much as these people completely were hypocrites about how much they cared about being this puritanical culture where nobody will do anything wrong because we really have a technology that makes all of them become fully incriminated, you guys, where all their plausible deniability is shredded because they get co-opted into becoming co-conspirators in this wide-ranging racketeering scam scheme that everyone knows everything about. Everything we're discussing here isn't news for anyone that works at OSA that's listening to this. They do this all day, every day. They've never had a shred of critical thinking skill to be like, gee, maybe we are being told that this is legal, but maybe not. Maybe.
And that's why we want to tell them it's not legal, guys, what you're doing.
L. Ron Hubbard didn't give a fuck about the law. He told us a million times, the law's stupid, the law's for whatever, circumvent all the laws. Who gives an F about the law? So, if you at OSA is thinking that, being part of a wide-ranging, criminal racketeering scheme is in your best interest, really think for your damn self and stop checking with Scientology says. Start checking with a convicted felon if what you're doing could be also felonious, because it looks like you just snapped in and became the terminal, which is a term that L. Ron Hubbard used to really just piss on all these people that go goo goo gaga for him, you guys. I mean, imagine that. L. Ron Hubbard said that if you become complicit enough with his bullshit, soon enough you become him, and soon enough you can't see yourself as anyone else but L. Ron Hubbard himself, because all you're doing is regurgitating memos and bullshit quotes from that felon, degenerate, pathetic loser. So it's time to wake up, and it's time to really stop playing dumb. In this year 2023, there's been tons of decades where, playing dumb was an option. Playing dumb was like, oh, we don't know. It could be this, it could be that. We did hear it was a religious pitch. It's a racketeering conspiracy. So
it's 2023. It's not like there's enough of us out here talking about it. You've been told, like we know. This next one from Destiny Salazar. Do you think there's any mainstream media outlet out there that has ever done a decent job of expressing the real dangers of Scientology? There's been bit and piece portions, I think. Australia does a decent job of kind of giving more hard-hitting pieces about it and good interviews with people. I don't know that the American media overall has done a good job. There have been some good pieces here and there. But unfortunately, there hasn't been one like super punch to Scientology. But ultimately, the problem with that is, there's been a few, like the St. Petersburg Times article, even the Time magazine article. There's been a few times where I know it was like an hot dog moment for Scientology, because Scientologists and Scientology freaked out. And it turned a lot of people away from Scientology for a brief moment. But the problem is there's no follow-up. There's like one thing, and then the media is like, well, we did Scientology and we don't need to talk about it anymore. And that's the problem. That's why we're here every day talking about it, guys, because they're still here. They're still doing the same BS, and they still have their 501c3 status. So that's the real problem. And like Serge said at the beginning, if an adult human wants to do these things to themselves, I'm with Serge on that. You can
let me answer what I think in terms of the media. Okay, you guys, let me just give it to you real straight. Okay, the corporate media, with all the access that they've had in the last 73 years of this BS problem being a scourge all over, everybody has been witnessing that. This government got infiltrated. All these families were ripped apart. And the corporate media, the idiots that they are, the literally zero critical thinking skills, zero spine, zero, you know what? Let me infiltrate the hotel for ourselves so that we don't have to tap all these young kids that were definitely child trafficked, that were abuse ad nauseum, and rely on their testimony. The corporate media has been using us to make money. Guess what Scientology did? They used us to make money. The corporate media hears everything that happens in there, and they don't want to do a shred of heavy lifting for themselves. Stop relying on what we said, since we haven't been credible, since we haven't been, to the point, since apparently we don't know what in the hell we're talking about. Go check it out for yourselves. Go get a course at CC. Go get a sec check at Debbie Cook's flag. Go find out for yourselves. When you find out for yourself what it is, then take it upon yourself to write your little article, so you don't have to, rely on whatever we say, because, we couldn't be more clueless, even though we spend our entire formative years there given a front row seat to all the dysfunction. So the corporate media guys, they don't want to do a shred of heavy lifting. They just want to, do a quick story, make their cash, and go to the next thing. And they won't, under any circumstances, where is the corporate media telling us that kids are the victims? Because you know what? They cannot get tired enough of going with a huge microphone to every last adult that wants to complain about this BS, because we definitely have a ton of articles of adults complaining literally just GTS it for yourself and see how many adults have complained and how many children have actually been humanized by the media instead of dehumanized. Because that's what we've been done. It's like they've done nothing with us. They just wrote the little story, put it out, bye-bye. Next. Oh, nothing changes in 73 years. It doesn't matter. You know, everything's alleged. We don't have any court cases to go off of. So, you know, it sucks to be you kids that are stuck in those hotels, because in Clearwater, we really believe in freedom of religion. We wouldn't be, you know, wanting to enforce a law if you weren't being subsidized to enforce a law at the Clearwater Police Department, who doesn't give an F about enforcing any laws. They literally, the child trafficking laws couldn't be more useless or pathetic and unenforceable.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. From Catherine Churchill. Did either of you see Erin and Reese's videos with her recorded calls? The cognitive dissonance levels were off the charts. Absolutely. Absolutely. It was crazy. But let me tell you, that is a prime example of what we dealt with on a daily basis. That's just a taste. That's just a taste of what we dealt with all the time. So if you think that that is bonker doodles to hear, that just those phone calls, that's what we dealt with 24/7. Okay. Yeah.
We dealt with that with 24/7. I know the people that were in those phone calls personally. They were my students. Yeah. And again, like we've come with the receipts. We've come with the receipts. We've come to the receipts for, you know, all these decades. But again, you know, no one in America can connect a dot. Apparently, that's a very hard thing to do, to connect any dot, even with those receipts, even with those recordings, even with that type of evidence.
Yeah, absolutely. From Destiny Salazar again. What did we think of Jenna's crashing the can story?
Well, I mean, that happened all the time, you guys. I mean, if you drive a human to that point of desperation and rage, from you cajoling them, from you violating their boundaries, from you dehumanizing them, the actual sane reaction to have is to go into that anger and push them away. Never mind that, you know, all these people did is turn around and project this as Jenna being the violent one. So now Jenna has a problem because she did go to that edge, because she already has been on the public record saying how she wanted to off herself. Just like Nora, just like me, just like all these kids, we all wanted to off ourselves, you guys. So when the corporate media that hasn't written a shred of anything about that can make it make sense, it would be great to know when that starts happening, because it's not like it's not known.
And we're just the ones that survived, guys. There's plenty of us, second gens, third gens, who aren't here to speak out because they were successful. So that's the fact. There are plenty of us that we know who aren't here to tell their stories because they did. And that's perfectly fine with Scientology. Those people are just considered downstat, and they're not welcome back next lifetime. So, yeah. Question from Michael McKay. When you guys left the Sea Org, were you able to get your passports and other important things, or just left with nothing? Most of my stuff had been stolen out of storage, picked through. My bicycle, my tennis racket, things that were of value. My silver tab jeans, things that people liked. I was left with one single box of like pictures of my family and a couple other things that people like, you know, they didn't want any pictures of me. So yeah, I got that. My mom had my passport, thankfully, so I don't have to worry about that. They did give me my driver's license back. But yeah, I got like one box of stuff, but everything else had been stolen when they dumped me at my mom's house from the RPF. What about you, Serge?
I left with some stuff. Again, after being made to wash bathrooms with muriatic acid and be interrogated. And, you know, when we did get older, it got to the point where I didn't give a shred of an F what these MFs were putting up for me to do. I was going to go out. I was going to go out. You're going to get interrogated. Your wife wants to leave you. You know, nobody's going to want, it didn't matter what in the hell these people were saying. There was that point where I became, I think 21 or 22, where I was like, I'm out. I don't want to be here. I don't care. You're disgusting. You're a degenerate. They locked me up at a motel. I was like, 95 pounds. I was a skeleton. I was like eating, I would escape to Rite Aid and like buy like little cheese crackers and stuff like that. And I was just like locked up in that thing because I had to be separated from this other people because, people are seeing that you want to leave. You're going to start infecting everyone else because, I was a very big influential person in there, you guys. So the fact that I wanted to leave was viewed as very, very like, threatening for the rest of the people because God forbid I set an example for other people to want to leave. So we left with nothing. They dumped us on the street as roadkill by the time that they were so pissed that they couldn't break us anymore. And they were so pissed that we wouldn't say yes instead of no. That's all that changed. Literally, I said, no, you have to do this. No, you have to do that. No, I don't care. You have to sign this. No, you have to do no. And, it's like, even though we still thought we were in the wrong. I mean, I was like, I don't know. I must be so fucked up myself, but I cannot be here anymore. I'm not as good as all y'all, whatever. But it didn't matter. Like, I was just like, this ain't working for me anymore. I don't want to be here. 11 years is enough of this bullshit. Oh, you're going to owe us $100,000. We did leave with that, you guys, with bills. That's what the hell we left with. Oh, here's your bill. Make sure you pay for every course you did while you were in here.
Yeah, which of course is total bullshit. But yeah, I think this is a rhetorical question because I think you know the answer, Blow Drill. What religion makes you do a multiple page life history form? I think only Scientology. I think you do know the answer to this question. Serge and I know the answer, and that is that's a Hollywood Squares moment. But yeah, we all know the answer to that one. It's just Scientology. All right. Question from Grounded in Truth. Ethics equals survival of Scientology, right? Is that the survival of each individual Scientologist or Scientology, Theta as a whole? Trying to understand. So it's all of the above. Mostly ethics is used to get you, the individual, to survive across all of the dynamics, which includes you as yourself, but also your group dynamic, which would be, in this case, your fellow Scientologists, and then all of mankind, right? So it would be all of the above, right? So if you're surviving, then the only way you're surviving well as a Scientologist is to be doing Scientology full time, having a Scientology spouse, being a part of a Scientology group, and promoting Scientology. And that's the survival of Scientology then, right? Anything else is considered out ethics. The survival of the other dynamics, they really honestly don't care about. Nobody is like, how's your eighth dynamic doing? Like, zero people ask you about that. They are curious about your second dynamic because if that goes sideways, then that can throw off your donations and shit. And so they get
Okay, but let's just also let me just, because I know you have to go in like 2 minutes, Nora.
Yeah, I have to go in 2 minutes. Go for it.
We
have one more question after this.
If y'all really want to go ask pimps who child traffic whores what ethics is, fine. So we're not entertaining or explaining what it means to have ethics on people that abuse minors in such a disgusting, self-entitled, degenerate way. Don't ask chomos what ethics is because they have not a shred of a clue. So every protege of L. Ron Hubbard that does buy that pitch, we don't give a fuck about that pitch. Literally, it couldn't be more pathetic. It couldn't be more unexplainable and indefensible. There's very few things in life that you can do, you guys, that are indefensible. Abuse of minors and abuse of animals are two subjects that I can think of that are indefensible. There's nothing you can say. There's not a way for you to pitch it that makes sense because it doesn't. So all these MFs that took it upon themselves to role play that book about ethics and use that word as a euphemism to hide what in the hell they were really about miss us with your BS in this year 2023. So that's what I have to say about ethics.
This question is for me. Yes, I remember you saying that you had dealings with Catherine Bell. Do you ever see her leaving the Church of Scientology, or is she in it for life? I don't see her leaving right now until she comes to terms with the fact that Scientology does not like her because she is gay. She has a wife currently. Dianetics and the Science Survival book are very
Celebrities are
clear.
always getting something out of it too, Nora. That's why she doesn't want to leave. Like, Scientology doesn't give an F she's gay. They're getting something out of her,
No,
and
they
she gets something out
absolutely
of
do
them.
give an F that
She
she's
gets
gay.
slaves.
100%.
All
And she
celebrities
is a
get
slave.
slaves. They don't want to leave. They're slaves, you guys. They love being royalty. They love being told ad nauseum how special they are.
But they do care that she's gay, because that takes me to the next question here. 100%. So Scientology appears to contain pockets of people who are more open to gay and lesbian rights. Is there any hope of a change post Miscavige? No. There may be people who consider themselves liberal who might vote Democrat at the polls secretly. Do not kid yourself. Scientology is 100% anti-LGBTQIA. It is in the scriptures, as they like to refer to it in the media, all the way through. L. Ron Hubbard was anti-trans, anti-gay, anti-lesbian, anti-anything that is not straight, white, cis, hetero relationship, okay, with the man dominating the woman. He was a misogynist. He was a homophobe. He was a racist. There is no anything else to get around that. 100%. That is a literal black and white issue in Scientology. Anyone who tries to come out and be like, "Oh, we love gay people in Scientology," they are selling a bag of horse manure. Absolutely. And that's why it confounds me that Catherine Bell continues to sing the siren song of Scientology when she is pinning herself down for them and hurting herself on a daily basis. Because you and I both know what we went through auditing wise to try and have the gay audited out of us for years. And that's happening to her. Not that I, say that, she's not doing her part to promote Scientology, which I don't understand. That's the part I don't understand. So yes, she's a slave and all this other stuff. And, but yeah, that still means I still want her to get out. We'd have to have a lot of conversations about what the hell she's been doing. But her wife is also a second gen and all this other stuff. So it's, a whole bunch of stuff. But yeah, there's no question that they are completely anti-gay. There's no hope of them being like gay sauce or anything like that. And we have a bunch of super stickers from people who have been very generous. Tamara, thank you very much. And
Havoc 3, that's my husband.
Oh, thank you so much. That's so generous. Oh, wait, and another one. Get out of here.
One for you, one
And
for
from
me.
Laura. And Laura, I love all these
little
people.
Laura.
This is so nice. You guys, we have
Yay,
to go
Laura.
only because I have to take my kids somewhere. Otherwise, Serge and I could literally talk all day, you guys. This is no joke. Like we could go forever.
No,
But
there's
we're
a
gonna
lot
do
more
this
to
again.
say until this hotel's shut down and take all those minors out. We're not stopping talking. So
We are
we'll
not
see you
stopping.
guys soon.
And we're going to do this again. This is going to be a regular thing with me and Serge always. And we're going to be here on our channels. So please, if you haven't already, go the other way. Go like and subscribe to Serge at Serge Del Mar. And you can like and subscribe to me at Oh No Nora. And we will see you on the flippity dippity. All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.